Why is your ex an ex? He cheated on me. His excuse was, it wasn't anything sexual. I just wanted to show her my dick, then she grabbed it and put it in her. His words, not mine. Because I could predict the entirety of the rest of my life and I didn't like it. I would have taken over the family bakery and spent every day waking up at 3 a.m. to make donuts. 9 a.m. would be the start time for sausages. Leave the bakery at 4 p.m., deposit the daily sales before the bank closes. Drive home and eat the unsold sausages for dinner. Watch TV for 1.5 hours before falling asleep in a chair. Wake up at 3 a.m. Repeat. Forever. There was no joy in her father's eyes. Joy left years ago. It was mutual after a couple big discussions. I wanted to travel, she didn't. I don't want to have children, and she did. I didn't want her fucking her ex, but she did. Gotta decide on what your deal breakers are, I guess. She got sick of being taken for granted, and dealing with the effects of my insecurities. Turned out the only thing we had in common was that we both liked to eat pussy. Because I'm a selfish asshole. Being a selfish asshole is fine if you're by yourself, and want to be that way, but other people tend to not like it very much when looking for company. He had a sneeze fetish that he obsessed unhealthily over. In my sleep he'd ball up cat hair and try to put it into my nose. I didn't know he was doing this to me until I had a nasty sinus infection and had my sinus flooded out at urgent care. Out came small balls of cat hair. The final straw was cheating on me with a girl who had a bigger nose than me. She was his ex and he just couldn't get over that nose despite the fact she was literally psychotic. They were perfect for each other. Not my loss. But my mistake ever trying to be tolerant and understanding of him. Makes great material for the biography I'll never write. Faked a pregnancy when I tried to break up. Cheated multiple times. 2 real suicide attempts when I tried to break up. Fake rape claim threat when I tried to break up. My hands started sweating and my heart was racing when I saw pictures of her recently. This happened over 2 years ago. This tiny girl terrifies me. Because we were 2 different people in 2 different places in our life. Also BC, she had a nasty habit of banging my friends, but that's besides the point. Well, she passed away, so I guess she is my ex now. I still love her. She hit me with a car. She didn't want to commit, but she didn't want to be alone. She liked to pretend that she didn't need my company, and that life was a cabaret, but she did, and it really wasn't for her. Something in her was afraid of getting too close. I just got tired of it. My girlfriend was verbally abusive on a regular basis. She would also get physically abusive when she drank too much. She wasn't really strong enough to hurt me seriously, but when the person you love starts trying to sucker punch you, it is really frustrating. I still miss her a lot. Some days she was wonderful and the sweetest person ever. Others she was bitter, angry, and would do anything to try to get a reaction out of me by insulting me. Started to become my insecure high school self after a while and had to give up. She dealt with a lot of really horrible abuse in her past and I didn't want to ever be the next abuser because of my own anger and frustration, so I had to let her go. Still miss her. Still love her. Wish things had been different. I realized I was gay once I saw the guys she was cheating on me with. She was in the closet, so for 4 years I was her dirty little secret, craved attention and agreed to have her coworkers set her up on a blind date with some dude without even talking to me about it. WTF, demanded I leave my career and job in another country and go home, stay in her condo and freelance instead while she continues her career as a lawyer. Harassed the person I casually dated after her, got really mad at me because I moved on and she chose to stay miserable. Haven't had any communication with her for almost a decade now after I finally blocked her all those years ago. I'm happily married for 6 years now to an amazing woman, thank God. He punched me in the face after a petty argument. He threatened suicide every few weeks. He constantly performed tests on me to see if I loved him enough or that I could be trusted. I always failed them. He would demand I stay up on the phone almost every night until 1 a.m. or later listening, not talking, to him. I would be expected to stay awake and listen to his rambling anecdotes for hours silently. If I spoke, I'd make him lose his train of thought. If I fell asleep, I got screamed at or a day of the cold shoulder. These are just a few examples. I was a young teenager who got sucked into a cycle of psychological abuse for a few years. I'm fine now for the most part. You can't always stick two severely mentally ill people in a relationship and expect it to work out great. He didn't feel as strongly about me as I did about him. And he didn't care about how I felt during sex. ETA, surprised that this comment blew up. Wanted to clarify that I am a woman and that the main sex issue was that I need time to work up to comfortably putting his manly bit into my lady bits. I did communicate this to him and we had what I thought was very satisfying sex several times after that, despite him having a bit of attitude of this again, whenever I wasn't immediately ready to be jackhammered after a minute of making out. He told me in the aftermath of our relationship that he thought our physical relationship was completely unenjoyable. There were other things too that he did that made it clear to me that he didn't care how I felt during sex, like often wanting oral but never giving it and needing reminders to put on a condom despite the fact that I wasn't on birth control for part of the relationship. He was truly a phenomenal person, but something just didn't click romantically. I just didn't feel the way I thought I should have felt about him. Because he was a self-centered, emotionally abusive, alcoholic, manipulative anchor of a human being. He destroyed the house I paid for, told me no one else would ever love me, and made everything my fault. Also, he physically abused my dog. She got pregnant with another guy's child. I was in the emergency room with kidney stones, didn't know it was kidney stones at the time, just knew I was in the most pain I'd ever been in. She got pissed because, "You're not paying attention to me, seriously, I'm in a fucking emergency room hooked up to an IV with painkillers flowing through me, at this point I'm half conscious cause of the morphine, and apparently I'm a piece of shit for not paying attention to her." It came to a head when I asked her to get a nurse because something didn't feel right. They had gave me something I was allergic to and I was starting to have an allergic reaction. She said, "Fine, I'll just be your babysitter." At that point I just told her to go home, that her negativity was making me feel worse. She got all pissy, threw a fit, and left in a rage. Next day I didn't even call her for a ride back home. When I got out of the hospital, I called my aunt and had her drive me home. The moment I got home I started packing my shit. If you have to be the center of attention and can't feel any empathy whatsoever while I'm in the goddamn emergency room, you're a garbage human I don't want anything to do with. Because I started using heroin and she cheated. When I was nearly robbed. Before the story came out she said, "Damn, I didn't know that your great-great-grandparents' medals were stolen." She fucking hired two guys to rob me because I told her my brother was having a serious asthma attack and I'll be at the hospital. She wanted to show me that she found the medals. According to her, she just lost her feelings for me. It's been 6 years and I still dream of her. Because he wouldn't shut up and talked all the way through Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. Been married 18 years, so my ex was an ex from about 23 years ago. Reason he's my ex? Got my friend preggers. When I confronted him he suggested we stay together and have threesomes. Yeah, nope. My ex is an ex because he was manipulative and emotionally abusive. He also hated my friends and family. He tried telling me that they were toxic for me so I could never see them. Said she wanted a change, coincidentally at the same time that I finished paying for her college. She pushed me to reveal my secrets, then used them to manipulate me. For some reason, she thought her vagina was enough to keep me around and all she needed to bring to the table. Not really an ex but someone I dated for a month or two. Started talking about marriage and having kids after the third or fourth date. Would call me in the middle of the night because she needed help with something that any fully functional adult should be able to do by themselves, i.e. stuff like lifting a 10-pound object from the floor and placing it on a counter. Finally broke it off when she told me I'm gonna have to cut any and all ties to one of my best friends because I'm not allowed to talk to other girls now that we're dating. This was the worst one. We were in a long-distance relationship. It wasn't working out for him though, so he broke up with me. We still kept daily contact however. When he came back to visit my city as his home, he told me that he missed me and so we hung out the entire week he was there, had sex and all that. I was pretty sure we were going to make it work and get back together, that's what I was hoping. Turns out, when he went back to his other country, I found out by luck that he was actually in a relationship with another girl. So yeah, he cheated on her with me. The best part? This was a girl that I had some red flags up on when we were still together, and he was actually dating her while we were still together. Yup, felt like a complete idiot, and that's how he became my ex forever. Told me he was afraid I'd gain a lot of weight and wanted to feel he could have sex anytime he wanted. Guess you can't have spontaneous sex with a woman who's a little overweight. Joke's on him, I lost weight and he gained weight. Neither of us wanted to relocate coasts. It's boring but true. I wish her the best in life. She was awesome. I'll only give my last two to keep it somewhat concise. The woman before my last ex. Well, she had the unfortunate timing of being with me when my best friend died unexpectedly when I was in my early 20s. While we had been together about 3 years, I said fuck the world and turned into an alcoholic and moved 2,000 miles away. I actually feel bad for her. 6 months into my self-destructive path, I am sleeping with this girl, on the wrong side of the crazy, hot scale, pretty much daily, but I have made it clear it is a FWB situation and I am not interested in a relationship with her. That didn't work for her. But it gaffs, so I keep putting my dick in crazy and drinking, hindsight as 2020. So when I start casually dating another woman on the side 6 months later, she, crazy greater than hot, is pissed and takes it out on my vehicle and with a bout of stalking. That other woman somehow stuck with me, got me help for my drinking, helped me move past the loss of my father and some moderate PTSD from the military, then became my wife and mothered my children. I don't know what I did to deserve her, but she literally saved my life and I'll never be able to repay her.